Besides being famous, what does Tweety Bird, Marilyn Monroe, and James Earl Jones all have in common? They all have a different type of communication disorder. For example, Tweety Bird had articulation errors, and Marilyn Monroe and James Earl Jones both experienced a stutter. My name is Nolan Boggs, and I have been greatly impacted after experiencing a child's life with autism. I have experienced the way a child is affected and the communication is affected by autism. This has inspired me to do more research and to better understand how different speech and communication disorders can affect the way we communicate. People are greatly affected by communication a lot more than we know. After this presentation, you all should understand the differences between speech and language disorders and understand how they affect communication. Communication is an important part of life, and speech disorders and language disorders are both drastically reduce the quality of people's life, and we need to be able to cope with them and try to help make their life better and not just expect them to try to live as we expect they should. A communication disorder from American Speech Language Hearing Association in 2013 says, quote, "A communication disorder is an important impairment in the ability to receive, send, process, and comprehend concepts or verbal, nonverbal, and graphical symbol systems. A communication disorder may be evident in the processes of hearing, language, and/or speech. A communication disorder may range in severity from mild to profound. It may be developmental or acquired. Individuals may demonstrate one or any combination of communication disorder. A communication disorder may result in a primary disability, or it may be secondary to other disabilities," end quote. The definition of communication should make us question its importance alone. Communication is essential for us to be able to grow and develop as a nation, and to grow and develop as a community. Communication helps people be able to say yes or to resist ideas, to agree, to confirm. There's no other way we could move on and be able to develop these great technologies we have if it wasn't for communication. Communication is key to developing life and continuing. Communication is a vital process. According to the National Research Council in 2009, their report says that approximately 6 to 1% of the population has a speech or language disorder which impacts their ability to communicate. These implications of communication disorder are heavily influenced by the specific type of disorder that a person can have. For example, language disorders affect the way people process the information, the syntax, or how the language flows, instead of the way communication disorders affect the actual communication. See, child language disorders, for example, as autism, as I said, can have a great impact for different children, and especially the way they communicate. When a person is unable to produce speech correctly, they can't express their ideas or tell everybody how they feel. Communication also helps people be able to resist ideas or to be able to confirm what they believe. About 10% of the population has a speech disorder. According to Brooks' 1990 study, individuals with speech disorders often report being concerned with how other people view them, end quote. These type of speech disorders include articulation errors, just stuttering, or motor speech disorders are also different types of communication disorders that do affect different people, and they're much more around and prevalent than people even know. There are people on every street that have a different type of communication disorder, and they are being ignored, and people should do different things about it. After this presentation, you should see that communication is an important part of life. From this presentation, one can see that communication can continue to impact people that have a disorder if they do not do something about it. I will focus on this reason because it is very important that people communicate. Thank you all for coming out to my presentation, and I believe that communication and speech disorders are very important impacting people negatively.